So, all right, welcome back to the one and only Gold Rush weekly watch list. Um, where we look for high probability setups that'll pay us all week long. So, the purpose of this call is every week to help you to see setups the way that some of us, like I learned how to read the market from looking at other people's analysis style, and so I'm hoping that people get to take some of that home and kind of are able to utilize, either learn how to find their own style through what we do here, or like I know a lot of guys, a lot of people here, a lot of ladies in here, they look at the setup, they see the levels, they just play the levels, right, with patience, find good entries and make money, right? I know, like, Mrs. Bloomberg made a bunch of money last week just playing some of the levels that we've discussed in here. So so I hope that it's helpful to you guys, right? So I have just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have like 8 that we got to look at. We have an earnings this week, so let me just quickly go over that list. This week we have Neo, Docu, GME, Zscaler. What else? FCell, Billy. Lovesac, I think that is what that is. Let's see, and IDEX. So not a massive earnings, although Neo is definitely on the list for this call. We'll look at Docu, we'll look at GME as well. So let me just add that to my list: Docu and GME, and whatever else you guys got. But so not a big earnings week, not like a market moving week. Last week, the last couple of weeks actually have been extremely bearish, just as we've discussed on the call, right? This is nothing new. This isn't anything that we haven't expected, right? Let me just see if I can get rid of some of these lines. Actually, it's fine. So, starting with SPX, or in this case, ES futures. The first thing that you see is this broadening formation, right, where price is kind of discovering its way up and down, and right now it's it's working its way down and making kind of like finding lower highs and lower lows on this kind of megaphone pattern. So we've already rejected at the top right here, right? We rejected at the top where we expected to reject, and we did it, right? And we put in this massive 2 Fridays ago, not this past Friday, but the Friday before that, big red candle. And now you can see that price is starting to accelerate down. If you look at the volume for last week, this volume came in crazy for last week, right? So and what's this? This is the pre-COVID high. Okay. So let me see what was the candle. The low of this candle, 39.03, and what level is this at? This is at 38.96. Okay, so we still haven't. So I think that there's still more downside, although it's possible that we're gonna bounce a little bit this week. The reason why I say that is because I have this anchored VWAP. This blue line is from the pre-COVID high, right? It's a VWAP that's anchored from this pre-COVID high, and that's been a major level for us. I think that this pre-COVID high has caused a lot of the first word I think of is confusion, but nobody's confused, right? I think the fact that it ramped down like crazy 4 weeks back to back, and then made a massive run, right? Like it accelerated up through the high. It kind of played around with that level a bit, and then just continued in a massive move up. And if you look at the let's look at the monthly real quick on ES. Oops, my bad. Let's look at the monthly real quick. So if you look at the monthly, for a while, since like 2010, it's been in this uptrend, and it's just been very calm, right? It'll move and it'll come back and bounce and kind of move, come back. And really during that, at that COVID high is when it really, after it dropped, is when it really woke up, right? Like it felt like it had to make up for lost time. And you've never really seen this ramp up this crazy for this long, right? It kind of had a little bit of a spike over here, and it went pretty fast, but But look how long it's been going for, right? So, I mean, realistically, if we want to come back to the trend, we got a long way to go, right? We got a long way to go back to like 3,200 ish, right? I don't know if that's gonna happen. Who knows, right? But you know, I just wanted to mention the fact that we needed to pull back from this, and so that's what we're doing now. It's healthy. I love it. It's beautiful. It's killing a lot of people because people bought up here and they don't realize that you have such a wonderful opportunity to average down, right? So that's what, if you're in long-term shares, you should be averaging down this whole time, or maybe not this whole time, maybe just waiting. Like, I haven't bought anything yet. I sit on Apple, I sit on AMD, I sit on I have Tesla. Like, I'm just waiting for a nice area where we can see some sideways action. I don't think we're gonna get a big bounce. I think we're gonna get some consolidation, such as on these few weeks here, where it goes sideways, and then from there it might break out and go up. But I don't know if we're gonna get that yet. I think that we're far from that. I'm still targeting this 3,200. I want to see what we do with this demand zone here. So that's where I'll take action, around these levels, around this demand zone, around this anchor VWAP, which is the pre-2018 bear market. So right before the bear market of 2018, that's this VWAP, and then we have this line here, where there's a monthly demand line. So I see more downside. We might bounce at this. We might bounce here at this level. Get rid of some of this stuff. Right? We might bounce here at this level. Like, stay hung here, maybe make a sideways a doji or something on it. Even come up for another week, and then I think we're gonna come right back down and test this area, this green box here. So that's what I'm seeing for ES. I'm seeing it clear as day. It's hard on the daily sometimes, but you always zoom out and kind of keep perspective, right? So that's what I see for ES. If we look at QQQ, it's the same exact thing. I don't have my levels marked out for QQQ because I don't really play QQQ much. I don't really watch it. I think ES is the only one that I personally like to keep on my chart. But it's doing the same thing. It's broadening down, right? Same exact thing. We're right in the middle of the broadening formation now, sort of. So we might stall here for a bit and then work our way down or work our way up and then come. Ultimately, I'm still bearish. Let's see, price is, and now this is a weekly. Let's look at the daily real quick. Price is below all of the major moving averages, right? I have the 20, which is up here. I got the 100, which is this white line. I got the 50, which is this red line, and I got the 200, which is up here, way up here, right? Now, we're still bearish because all of the moving averages are still underneath the 200, and now we're especially bearish because 100 is about to cross down through the 50. That's a bearish cross. Right, it's like a mini death cross. So I'll be watching. I mean, I think QQQ is probably interesting to watch to see if it'll try to reclaim that 50-day, because they tried to hold it here on this day. It couldn't hold it that day. It failed. It retested it this day. Some buyers stepped in, but Friday was too strong. Now we might try to get back up above it at some point this week, hence the bounce. And so that's what I'll be watching. I'll be watching for Qs to come and reclaim this 50-day. For ES, it's not the 50 days, it's way up here. So I mean, maybe it will, maybe it won't. It's about the same. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Not sure. But I don't really like ES with the 50 only because ES has more trading, like more time trading than QQQ, right? ES trades damn near 24 hours, so the averages are skewed a little bit. So that's what I see. I just see more downside, guys, is a point of all this. So let me just get into my list real quick, and then we'll get into your request. So the first one I have is Chewy. Oh yeah. Keep a track of the time real quick. 10, okay. Let's see. So with Chewy, go into the weekly. I've been looking at Chewy downside for days now, right? And the day that it caught my interest was on this day. This day where it opened here, put in a nice big green upside move, and then sellers came in and brought it all the way down, right? And the volume is relatively low compared to, I mean, I don't know what's up with some of these spikes, right? There's like an earnings spike here, another earnings spike here. So it's like people just buy it on earnings, and it kind of skews the volume, but a lot of sell pressure here. and then we came back to test the kind of the low of the range of this previous candle, and then we broke down, and then from there we just been breaking down pretty hard, right? So I think that there's more. The reason why I think there's more is because I'm looking at the weekly, and the weekly tells me that, especially with all that volume that came in, right? All that volume that came in last week. Get rid of some of these levels. Actually, I could clear all this whole. Yeah. So looking at all the volume that came in, and then the 200 crossed, it started to cross underneath some of these moving averages. The 200 crossed the 20, which is 20. I don't really give it too much weight, but you know, but in a few days, 1 or 2 more days, or maybe 1 week of more bearish candle, we're gonna get the 200, this black line crossing the red line, which is a 50, right? So the 100's already crossed. Like, this is, everything is bearish about this. Like, everything that you see here is bearish. Everything is bearish. So I'm looking for a continuation. I'm looking for just very simple. There's, you know, we lost support. We had support right here. Right, we had some support right here in this area, and we lost all of it. We lost all of it. So either I'm looking for it to really quickly get back up above this 100 and above this support line, or I'm looking for it to reach this level first and then reach this level next. Those are the few levels that I'm looking for it to reach. Underneath that will go there and then there, right? So, and ultimately, if we have one more good red week in the market, then we can see the bottom of this range, which is around 2250. So that's what I'll be looking for. I don't have an upside play for this. I wouldn't touch it to the upside. This is just one I wouldn't touch to the upside, right? It has so much traffic up ahead. It had a nice little uptrend, and then we put in a bearish engulfing on this week. So that shows you that sellers are in control, right? And then you see all the volume that came in on that week, higher than the previous couple weeks, and volume has really just been stepping up on a downside move. So I think there's more downside. So I'll be watching it. If you want the quick entry, you can buy some time on this. You can take it at the low of the week, and that'll put you at 31.95, and then from there just trade the levels down. Let me see what chains we could look at real quick for Chewy. So I'm looking at this week's 32 call. 32 put. Wait, my text. 9932 put. Currently at the market price. Well, I'll just do bid ask. 0.82 to 93. Right. So keep your bid nice and tight. Depending on where, obviously it's gonna open somewhere different. So just know where you're at now. And this is a ticket that doesn't get crazy volume and open interest. But you just want something that has like enough, right? So the OI for this is this 32 put has an OI of 657. And that's the highest one. That's the highest one on the chain right now. 657. Right? Let's look at next. Let's look at the following week to see if we have something else, just in case. 916. The 30 puts are sitting at. This one might be a better one, guys. Are sitting at 69 to 79. So a little bit cheaper, but you know it's further out, but it's a little cheaper. But what I love about this is the open interest. The open interest on this is 11,663, right? So that's probably the play that you want to get into, right? That's probably the one that you want to get into. So, and it gives you enough time to capture like a bigger move. So I would just keep that one keep that one in mind, right? All right. So the next one, actually, before we move on, let's look at the MACD and the TTM. So MACD is falling, and it looks like it's about to cross in a couple of weeks. TTM has flipped on the weekly. Let's look at the daily real quick. And MACD's, it's regained bearish strength, like it's got more bearish. It took a break here, but then it got more bearish on those 3 days. And TTM is on full swing to the downside. So we might get like 2-3 more days or one more day of a downside move, a pullback, and then a continuation. So I would just keep that in mind. You know, just keep it on watch and play the levels. These are the levels make it really simple, right? So just play the levels. Next one I have on my list is NEO. It used to be one of my favorite stocks to play, but now it's like it barely moves nowadays, right? So it'll be tough to get like a nice move out of it. But what I like about NEO is pretty much the same thing. I mean, if you look at the weekly, and I think this whole, looking at my list, I think this whole list is bearish right now. So that's where my bias is at. So if you see me play calls this week, call me out on it, please. So NEO is breaking support here, right? This is acted as a support level, resistance level, right? Support on this day, resistance on this day, or this week rather, this week. Support on this week, support on this week, support on this week. Falling wedge, failed breakout. Usually these falling wedges break out to the upside. And it did not. I mean, it did a little bit, I guess, but it didn't do anything crazy. Like, it just kind of went out and then now it's back down, right? So, and NEO sitting underneath the 50-day moving average, underneath the 20-day moving average, underneath the 100-day moving average. It's just bearish all around, right? And then if you look at what drew my attention to it is the back-to-back weekly lower highs. This trend right here, right? Let's look at the daily real quick. These lower highs on a week, even if it bounced, it still formed the lower high. So I think it's still very bearish. And then we had a 2 down candle. So that week, this past week, we broke the range of this candle down. You know, a little bit of like, you know, some buyers stepped in here for whatever reason at like a penny. They bought like they brought it up 1 penny. Like, it's not nothing at all. And so I think that we can get a continuation, especially since we rejected that 50-day. We couldn't hold it on these days, or on these weeks rather, and we rejected it. Now we're all the way down. So that's what I'm looking at. What I want is, as a target, is the bottom of this candlestick here. This big green candle. The first target will be right there. The second target will be right there. That's what I want. I want it to get to 15 and change. Underneath that, and I don't know what would cause NEO to come down that far. I mean, at the beginning of the month, they report sales numbers. Every car company does, and NEO's reported already. And so maybe that was what this little pop was about, right? This little 2-day pop. But I'm thinking of what catalyst. Obviously, if they're slow in their growth, then that'll catalyze them to the downside. I don't know if that's going to happen. The chart's telling me it has more downside. Maybe investors don't care what numbers are going to come out of this earnings, but I might YOLO some puts, to be honest with you, just because of the way the chart looks. They report earnings I think end of day tomorrow, right? End of day. Oh, tomorrow morning. All right, so we might miss the move. We'll see. Let's see. Actually, hold on. This is a weekly. No, yeah, they report earnings on the morning of the 7th, which is on Tuesday morning. So we are gonna miss it because the market's closed. And Mrs. Bloomberg just posted the delivery report. She said NEO delivered 10,677 vehicles in August 2022, an increase of 81.6% year over year. Deliveries consisted of 7551 premium smart electric SUVs, 3126 premium smart electric sedans. So they, I mean, their year over year still increased. If you've been following NEO for as long as they've been out, you know, some of these year over years, they were, last year they were 300% year over year. The first year they were like 1,000% year over year. So it's getting to an area where it's becoming more realistic, right? And then people are estimating a negative 0.17 earnings per share with a $1.45 billion revenue. So it depends on that, right? That'll tell you where the price is gonna go. I think they're still gonna deliver great cars. I know that they had a potential expansion in Europe. I'm sure that the war The war has kind of sidelined some of that, right? And I think long term they're going to be great. However, I think that for now we're very bearish. One more thing that I want to mention is there's a I'm not sure if it's like a battery supplier or battery manufacturer or what they are, but the name of the company is BYD, and they are based out of I think out of Shanghai, either Shanghai or mainland, and Warren Buffett had a large stake in that company, and so did obviously Berkshire Hathaway. And he's been selling it like crazy, and I'm sure that there's a relationship with BYD and with NIO, right? And we just have to figure out. So I might have to do little bit more research to see what the relationship is there. But he's selling like crazy, and there's potential for that to affect NIO. So let's just keep our eyes on that. So if we look at the play, Berkshire Hathaway offloaded another 1.72 million shares in China's biggest maker of electric vehicles. Oh, so they're an EV company. Okay, so they're another EV company, so they're a competitor of NIO's. Now, does that mean, hey, I'm gonna sell out of this company and buy into a different company in that region, or does that mean, hey, I'm exiting the Chinese EV market overall, right? Who knows? So maybe there's something there we should look into, because it sounds like it could be good for NIO or bad for NIO depending on what the exact vibe is with that. So let's see. Bed Bath & Beyond. And anyone who's not who's watching this on YouTube, I'm just reading news as it comes into the trade floor. Bed Bath & Beyond CFO commits suicide by jumping off of a New York City building. CFO has died after jumping off the 18th story of the Jenga skyscraper. Oh man, that's one of my favorite buildings too. That's crazy. That's wild, yo. That's really wild. So the CFO commits suicide. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? Let me get a NIO play, and then we'll look at BBBY. That merits interest. So damn, that's wild, yo. Damn. I would play at the money puts for this week. Man, that's fucked up. That's really fucked up. Man. What are we? What is it? 9-7? 9-9? 17.5 puts. 7.4, 0.78 is the bid ask, right? Nice bid ask. And then we have an OI of 12.95. And volume on Friday exceeded the open interest. So that means that more people jumped into the play than were interested in the play before. So that's interesting. Sorry guys, I have really bad allergies. Let's see. The 16th. The same contract for the 16th. The 17.5 puts are between $1 and $1.03. And Jennifer, I'll make sure to find something that has a higher premium so that you can jump into it too. Maybe not for NIO. We need a more expensive ticker to look at. We'll look at those.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no doubt. So this one has an open interest of 99.69. So these 9.16 puts seem like, based on the trend that I'm seeing, these 9.16 puts might be better for us. You're right. They're not super expensive, and they have a higher open interest and they have nice tight spreads. So 9.16 might be the way for so far. Is what I'm seeing. Let's look at BBBY. Just switch this. Okay. BBBY is a daily. I mean, this chart can go in either direction. A lot of if you look at a lot of the market, it has the same kind of look to it, where we kind of made a nice squeezy, bouncy move up, and then just gave it all back, right? I have a few on my chart, on my list that look like that actually. So there's no way of telling what's gonna happen with this. If this goes underneath this 50-day moving average, which is sitting at what is it? Hold on. right? If it goes underneath, why is it not showing? Anyway, if it goes underneath 813, then it can go back down to this level here, around $4. I think that that Jake was like, yeah, BBBY is going back to 4. I'm just gonna load some puts and call it a day. Like, don't even think about it too much. And so I think that's what's gonna happen. This news is really bad news in terms of humanity, right? But I don't know how the market's gonna react to it. Usually when things like that happen, the market has a bad reaction, but I don't know. I really don't know, right? Right. It can, the stock price can climb like crazy because of that. Like, it's really sad. That's just really sad news. I don't see a setup on this. I do kind of see a head and shoulders. Now that I'm looking at it, I mean, you have like your, that's really sad news. You have your shoulder here. And I didn't know the guy, right? But it is what it is, right? Life is life. You got your shoulder here, head there, shoulder there. So bearish setup. You could treat the 50-day as your neckline. Once it goes underneath the 50, this is like also not the greatest risk reward. You can just trade shares at this point, right? Like, because it's so cheap to go from $8 to $4. I mean, that's a nice move. Will it do it in one day? Probably not. But I don't know. I don't think that there's anything interesting there in terms of the chart, but let's look at the chains. The chains might tell a different story. 99. These are, and then, so now what's interesting about BBBY is, yeah, they might get a sympathy bounce, but I don't know. I really don't know. I feel like we had something like this. Like, what happened to Baba when they thought that Jack Ma got kidnapped, right? I forget. I think it dropped like crazy, right? So maybe expect that, a reaction similar to that, right? Like, I don't know. I really don't know how to call it. But these chains are extremely stacked. I think they're always this way, right? The three puts have 1379 open interest. The 4 puts have 3879. Sorry, 3852. The 5 puts have 5136 open interest. The 8 puts have 5916 open interest, right? And then if you look at the call side has the 9 calls for this week have 11K open interest. The 10 calls have 8381 open interest. So there's people on both sides. So there's no way of really telling what's going to happen by the chains at this time. And really, you don't know what's going to happen with the chart. And it's sitting at the 50, which is a crucial spot for every stock. A lot of buyers stepped in on that day, where the 50 day, where it touched the 50. Which is, right, buyers stepped in. Buyers stepped in and bought it up, back up a couple of 40 cents or 60 cents or whatever from down here to up here. Yeah, I wouldn't play this unless we're expecting another big move. I just, something like its regular range is so small that it's like almost not worth it. When you get moves like this, like big candlesticks like this, and like that, big gaps, that's when I kind of want to play this. So you probably won't see me call anything unless there's like a massive something crazy. You won't see me calling it unless like 10 of you are calling it, right? That's typically my style with BBBY. So, and the chains are all over the place. I would just see kind of where it opens up tomorrow, and then we can take it from there. So the next one on my list is Roku. Roku on the weekly. Roku's forming an H on the weekly, right? I mean, it's just been, it does this thing where it kind of falls, goes flat, and then falls, goes flat, falls, goes flat, falls, and then fell here hard, came back, and then went flat, rejected the 50-day and rejected the 20-day. So I'm looking for it to, and it's fallen since, right? These are on the weeks. And so the moving averages are still daily moving averages. These are still where the days are. This is still where the daily moving averages. This isn't a weekly. So keep that in mind. So it fell here, and then it bounced back up, rejected the 50-day, 2 weeks in a row, and couldn't hold the 20-day. And now we're way extended from the 20-day. I don't think we have to pull back to the 20-day. I think the 20-day is going to come back down to reach us. Like, look at what happened over here. It rejected the 50-day, and then it was extended from the 20, fell. The next time it did retrace back to it after earnings. Earnings was a big catalyst for Roku that one time, and this time as well, right? Because it kind of undid some of these two candles kind of undid the downside of this candle, right? This one came all the way down. These candles brought it all the way back up. Couldn't hold the 50. Now it's all the way back down. Let's see. The TTM is stable on the weekly, and we have I'm just looking at my notes. Right. The TTM is stable, so that means that it's been stable for 4 weeks, right? So that means that we're gonna have a big move coming out of this consolidation on the TTM, right? And if you look at it, when it's strong, it's light pink, and when it's weakening, it's dark purple. It went from purple back to pink on a consolidation. So it's showing us a little bit of direction. It's saying it's going to come back down on a stable TTM. But what you expect to happen is it's going to fire. So put in a green little indicator here to the downside on the next week. So I'm looking for this week continuation. And then look at the MACD. The MACD, there's a little bit of divergence here because we're at the top. We're on a bullish MACD that's falling. That's losing its bullish strength to flip down. But look at where the MACD and signal line are. They're like so far below. Like I'd rather see, if you guys have been listening to me in any capacity, I'd rather see this be up here and then these two lines be also up here, right? The way it is over here. I want to see it up here so it has some space to kind of swing to the downside. Right now we don't have that much space. We might have to come down and make a higher low on this MACD signal line. Come down here maybe at some point. So we might get a week out of it or 2 weeks out of it, right? Let's look at the daily. Yeah, that was my setup. The main reason why I like this was because of the potential bearish cross that's gonna happen in a couple, maybe this week, maybe next week. But it's so let's just go to the data real quick. It is sitting at support. Okay, it's sitting at support. Last time it was here, a bunch of buyers stepped in, and it happened to be at earnings or after earnings, right? This is the earnings report. It gapped down like crazy, and then buyers bought it back up, and it couldn't sustain, and then it's just falling. I want to see. Yeah, this is what I was looking for. The last time that Roku was down here at this price. Real quick. Yeah, so this is definitely a demand zone because every time it gets down in this area, buyers step in. Let's see the other time. And this is probably where the demand zone formed, right? It formed here and then it gapped up like crazy. It's interesting. Every time it's down here, it's like right around our earnings. So now looking at our chart now, like I don't think so. Demand is definitely strong because it keeps bouncing from this area. However, I think that it gets to a point where demand is going to go to zero, right? There's going to be no demand. So what I'm looking for on this is, let me just zoom in so it's a little bit more clear. And I don't have an upside play for this. You can take, technically you can kind of take that and then take it back to the 20-day if you want, if it does bounce on demand. But otherwise I see this, I see that, and I see that, right? I see it actually taking demand out and making a new low. I see it targeting $60. I see it targeting 60. So can I draw here? Let's see. $60 right there. That's my final target for Roku. Might take a couple weeks, right? It might take 2-3 weeks. So keep it in mind. If we look at the MACD and a TTM and a RSI is ice cold. That's another reason why it might bounce. Let's see. RSI is sitting at 36.92. It's gotten as low as recently as 34.89, and before that it's seen 33.64, and before that it's seen 30.75. So we have some room to go down more on the RSI. I don't really use RSI much. I don't use it at all, actually. But I don't want to be overly bearish, right? I don't want to be like, oh yeah, everything is bearish. Like this RSI looks like it might be ready to hold on. My daughter came in here to put a dress on from Frozen, so I just had to hook her up real quick. So I don't really use it, but you know, we have space. We got a little bit of space, so maybe that says we go down more, but we're pretty low, so maybe we can bounce here, right? I just want to see both sides of the story. The MACD on the daily is it looks like it's ready to flip bullish, right? We have the signal and the MACD line way down here where I like them to cross possibly. And this can go back up to 0. We're losing bearish strength also. So, right, and then TTM is just straight down. It might have peaked. I'm not sure, right? But I see more downside to this than upside. I wouldn't play the upside. We opened up way up here. We opened up way up here at 69, and we closed at 65.99. So 4 points to the downside. Even with the hammer, like the hammer came in and we did open up higher, but we put in a red day. So that's another thing, like price is kind of trending upward because the highs and the lows are getting higher between these 2 days, right? You see it, right? Like it's like working its way up. So if it looks like it actually might be channeling, right? This is how you kind of form these channels. Let's go to the 30-minute. Right, you see prices kind of channeling its way up. Right, it fell, it's in demand, came down, and then a bunch of buyers stepped in, put in a nice move on Thursday, and then it kind of went flat on Friday. So it is working its way up, making higher highs and higher lows in these past couple of days, right? These 2 days. If it breaks out of this trend, I see it going down fast. Right, I see it going down fast, and we still have this trend line here. We have that, so it can stay in this channel, and if it fails this trend line, then we're probably gonna go down. If it breaks the trend line, we'll probably go to the top of the channel. From there, we can try to test up there. So I mean, I guess there is a setup on both sides. So I'll take a closer look, and especially with some of what the MACD and all that stuff told us. Maybe there's something there, so I'll take another look and see if we can find upside. But let's see what the chains look like. Roku. Yeah, I like it for 60. So this week's and this week is probably too aggressive for 60, but let's see. Okay. There's not a lot of OI. All right, so the 62s, the 65s are 65 puts. 65 puts at the money are between 214 and 224. With an open interest of 524. Volume came in on Friday at 1268. So you might get an addition to that OI. So I would just keep that on watch. The reason why I keep mentioning those two is because obviously the volume was bearish. But if it stays bearish, if you come in on Monday morning and you see that the open interest is higher than 524, right, by maybe another 500, maybe by 1,000, then that means that people are still bearish and they're gonna continue to think that it's gonna go down. So that's why I mentioned that. You just keep those in mind. Like that's all sentiment, right? The 64s are good. The 62s are between 109 and 117. And what the hell happened here? what happened here? Crap. 524. 99. I don't know how that happened. Open interest of 302. Not a lot, right? And then if we look at the 60s, I think the 60s is a little too aggressive for this week, but all you need is like a $2 or $3 move, and it'll give you a lot of money. The reason why I say that is because the premium is so cheap that the percent gain on it is going to be very nice and fast, right? I know this guy on Twitter who he trades on Robinhood, and all of his highest premium that he's ever posted, he puts out his plays. His highest premium that he ever posted is like 30 cents, right? And on weeklies, like 30 cents, and then you'll get like a nice like $10 move or $15 move, and that's already a 50% play. If it moves 15 cents, that's a 50% play. If it moves another 30 cents, that's a 100% play. Like, it doesn't even get on people's radar until it's like 60 cents or 70 cents, and at that point you've already made 100%. So I found that interesting. I don't find great success in a lot of those styles. My success rate is at like around the dollar is usually really good. $1.50 is usually like very, very good. So, but he's found his success at like 30 and 40 cents. Some of his plays are 17 cents and 18 cents, which I wouldn't even touch unless they're like full blown lottos, right? The OI for the 60 is 755. So a lot of people are interested in that 60 put for this week. And it's a round number, right? It's actually a psychological number, so that makes sense. Let's look at next week's puts. See if we got the same thing going on. Yeah, next week. What is it? 16? 916, 65. The at the money puts are between 340 and 355 with an OI of 1763. And then we got next week 62 is not loading. Let's just go straight to the 60s. Next week it can definitely get 60, no doubt. 161 through 168. Open interest on the 60s are 2920. A lot of people interested in next week puts. So again, same trend. Next week's puts, more people are interested in next week's puts than this week's puts. And you know what? Let me look at the calendar real quick. Is that quad witching? It is. The third Friday of the month, which is options expiration, but also this is the quarterly options expiration. So this is quad witching. So it's usually very, very red. September is usually typically a very, very red month, and that week is typically extremely red. So I mean, that's why I think I'm eyeballing a lot of these short setups. You might just see a bunch of swings into next week from me, and a lot of these will require patience, right? Like Apple this week required patience, but it gave over 100. It gave 100%, over 100% actually. That Apple put it must have given. I don't even know. Let's look at Apple real quick. Yeah, I mean, we bounced right at the 155, on both of these days. So it gave about 100%. So and this is, I mean, you can see where we discussed it a couple weeks back, and look what it's been doing exactly as I drew it out. Now I don't know if we're gonna go back up to the trend line yet, or if we're going to put another red candle underneath, like really full blown red candle underneath the 50. Because we could have held it, but we failed it immediately on Friday. Apple is the reason why the market has been as strong as it has, because when everything else was going down, Apple was going up. Apple was doing this, and now Apple's finally pulling back, right? And like, everything else has been pretty sold off pretty hard, and it was just so close to its all-time high. Like it was just that much. Like just another like 2 weeks or 1 week. Another green week would have been enough to get it back to all-time highs. But it's pulling back like the rest of the market. It's underneath its 50. The 100 is way down here. And that's kind of what I'm targeting, is at 100. The 200 is right here, right? So we're underneath the 200. We haven't touched the 100 in a bit, so I'm targeting that. It's sitting at 153-ish for Apple. I won't even look at the chains right now because I don't have it on my. I don't know if it's gonna bounce or not. I don't really have a thesis for it. The Apple put that I called on Friday gave 733%. That was from like a way better entry than mine though. That was from a way better entry than mine. Oh, from my entry? Sheesh. Yeah, I didn't get to do the numbers on Friday because I had a really busy, I had a fucking crazy week. Friday was a crazy day. I'm gonna be in Vegas starting on Saturday of this week. Damn, that's crazy. 33 to 275. That's insane, yo. Wow. Yeah, so I'm gonna be in and I hope somebody caught that move. Did you catch the whole move or what? That was a nice move. That was a nice move. I'm gonna show you guys where I stopped trading and where I got called into meetings. Took it from 0.09, brah. Oh man, that's nuts. This is where I stopped trading. Oh, that's amazing. 566%. I love this for you. Let me turn the volume up. This is where I stopped trading. I was really upset with myself on Friday. I was upset. I was just upset period on Friday. So Friday 9:30 right here. 9:30 put a big red candle and then there was a bunch going on. We caught calls at around somewhere over here. I think it might have been the downtrend break. I'm not sure exactly what it was. I was in the 40s. And I was down pretty bad because I had swung some secret plays, which I'm happy they were secret because I didn't want people would have lost money. If I would have blessed you, if I would have put us onto it. Cancel. Oh, okay, and then so I swung the 40s. I got filled at what time? 10:12. Let's go to the 1 minute. 10:12. 10:12 right here. Yeah, right at the downtrend break. Downtrend break. I think I caught it. You know, I don't like to play much underneath trend lines, but I caught it right here. And I think I called it. I called this one out to the 40s. 10:12 right here on this candle. Wow. If I left it run at 29.95%. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, that entry you got was really amazing. And that's like enough premium, $10, right? $10 for contract. You buy a 10 pack or a 20 pack or a 100 pack or whatever, and then you just let it ride, right? And you could let like for $10 you let one runner go and just let it go all day long. It's crazy. I bought the 40s here and I called them out. I think over here somewhere over here. And they went all the way to 5, from 2 something to 5, and then I sold it right around here. It was back at like I bought a couple. I sold up here, and then I sold the last one like 2.6, so it wasn't even that crazy. But I was watching it. I'm watching ES. Let's go to the 5 minute real quick. I'm just watching it, and I'm like, yo, this is back at 4,000. If it breaks through 4,000, it's gonna see, like I said, 40.15.50. And then 40.21. It's well documented in the server, right? So it couldn't break through. I sold mine here because I had to do something, and it couldn't break through. And it tried a bunch. It looks kind of like almost like a triple tap, but to me, really, what it looked like. And the reason why I was so mad is because I looked at the 15 minute, and I saw this. I saw it like run straight into a wall, and then it kind of. Peep this pattern. Just watch this pattern for a minute, right? Big green candle, big green candle, big green candle, big red candle to pull back the length of the green candle. Green candle with some sellers, red doji, red candle with some sellers, green candle to try once more, red candle. So this is a mirror. This is like a mirrored image right here. Between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 candles. This is a mirror right here. Look at it. some of the dojis aren't some of the wicks on the bottom aren't the same length, but this is an exact mirror image. So when I saw that and then I saw a break, at that point I was like, oh, this is gonna go to 39.83, whatever I said, 39.83. So I'm in the middle of a damn meeting talking about nothing and did this, and I would have called out some 39.60s or something because, or some 39.70s just to try to capture the move back to 39.83. And look at what the thing did, and like I was so upset because I'm like, damn. All we would have needed was one put play or two put plays on this downside. I would have obviously caught it, and you know somebody would have made money on it. But I'm just really upset at myself that we didn't catch it. Unless you guys caught it by yourselves. I know Ro was playing a bunch of puts that day, so but I'm really upset, man. I mean, because this upside trade was profitable, thankfully, but this is like a life-changing trade, you know, when it comes down like that. So we'll catch the next one, guys. So yeah, Apple paid, and it went from 9 cents up here to $2.75 down here. So big move on Apple. I want to see Apple reclaim this 50-day. I won't have anything on it right now because I haven't looked at it this weekend. But maybe on Tuesday I'll have some numbers for you. So the next one that I have on my list is, let's see. Stacy said, I caught a little too, but I walked away. I'm going to start utilizing more intraday alerts, though, watching every candle. Yeah. Like, I enjoy watching the candles because I like to find those patterns. And on ES, you have to watch the 1 minute because the move happens on the 1 minute first, and it's very clear on the 1 minute. But that's true. Like I just now started learning to love the 1 minute because of ES. But besides that, I don't want to see no candlesticks. Give me a 15-minute chart, 30-minute chart, and give me a full move, a full size move, right? But I'm the same way. I don't really love to watch candlesticks, and especially watching charts all day. Like the point of this is the point of this is financial freedom. You play a couple of hours in the morning, maybe you come back for power hour, and that's it. And like you're making your money in the first couple hours of the day and not staring at charts all day. If you're staring at charts all day, that means that you made bad moves in the beginning of the day. So I feel you, girl. So let's see. The next one that I have on my list is Starbucks. Starbucks is very simple. Starbucks has this. Oh, it's not here. Huh, interesting. Starbucks has this broadening formation. Yeah. The 10:30. 10:30 that, you know, trade for an hour, or 10:30 your time might be different, but trade for a couple hours and then be done with it. Tell me, I don't know what you're saying. I can't read your lips. In your room, you need to give me some time to set you up because I have to set up the TV there. Give me a few minutes, okay? Thank you. Yeah, so 2 hours. So from 8:30 to 10:30. For me, it would be 9:30 to 11:30, right? Like before lunch, right before the lunchtime dip. Just get out and go have lunch, right? And be part of the lunchtime dip. And maybe not come back. Maybe just that's your day, right? So Starbucks looks a little bit different on my my trading view on my phone for some reason. It might be on a different layout. So I'm gonna show you what I see on my phone. 1 week. I'll just redraw it actually. All right, so I have yeah. That means your target might be too high nowadays. I don't know. I'm messing with you. Yeah, I mean, we haven't had clear direction in the market, to be honest with you. So this is kind of an ugly one. I think when I drew it on the monthly. I don't know where I came up with this weekly broadening, but I see. I mean, it's pretty clear on my phone. Maybe it just needs to be a phone thing. But price is covering down, up, failing, and now working its way down on the weekly. We put in a nice what's it called, a shooting star or gravestone doji or something. I think it's called a gravestone doji, where it's like typically if you put this at the top of a trend, that shows you that it's going to reverse to the downside. But it's already moving down, and that means a bunch of sellers are stepping in. A bunch of sellers are strong here. So price needs to get underneath that 50. You have to watch the 50-day, right? The 50-day is the crucial one. If you look over here, kind of fell, tested the 50-day, fell, came close to the 50-day, fell, opened up above it on this day and fell hard, and then reclaimed it that day and kind of stayed above it. So now we're going to test to see if we can stay above it. I like it to the downside only because of this broadening formation. I like it to the downside because of this broadening formation. Now, and I'll explain to you, and I'll show you, I'll compare another chart so you can see what I'm looking for this. The 200 is clearly pointing down on a week, on a daily rather. The 200 daily is pointing down. And I just see this coming down to at least come back to the middle of the range, which is right around here, 77.80. Let's look at the TTM and MACD. MACD is losing strength, and looks like we might get a cross at some point in a couple of weeks. And the TTM it's kind of peaking. You know, it's not growing as quickly as it has. Like from here to here, very big gap. From here to here, very big gap. From here to here, smaller. From here, small. So it's decelerating, right? And again, this is a weekly, so it moves a little bit differently. Let's look at the daily real quick. Yeah, I mean, daily, it's uptrend, 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 higher highs and higher lows throughout this entire time until it got to, right, we got this kind of trend going until it got to here, broke down, formed the first lower low. You got a potential head and shoulders here, right? Let me just take this off. And I have just a few more, guys, and we'll be done with it. Shoulder, head, shoulder. Neckline is 83.94, so it's already kind of broken the neckline-ish. I would even call like this the neckline where it's at now. 83 is your neckline. Where the 50-day is. So if it breaks below the 50, comes down to the 100, that's really my target. Underneath that, it can come back to 75.95. Underneath that, it can come back to 73 and change. So let me give you some levels real quick. I think Starbucks, I don't have a position in Starbucks. I'm gonna probably open one with them soon, because I like the way that they operate their company. The only thing that's scary about Starbucks right now is that they closed they closed their UK operations, which we discussed a couple weeks back. So now I don't know if that's gonna be bullish for them because now they're not spending money out there, or if it's going to be bearish for them because of all the market share that they lost. So I will keep that in mind with Starbucks. What I like about Starbucks is that Starbucks can act as a bank because everyone keeps money in their Starbucks card, right? And the money that's in the Starbucks card it sits in their account, and they can do whatever they want with it, right? Let me see if I can switch this. Mrs. Bloomberg. I don't think that I can. Oh, you know what? Maybe I can. Let's see. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, so head and shoulders, neckline's right here, exactly where we're at right now at 83. I wouldn't take the play until break of day low. Let it come below the 50 and then test it from the upside, from the downside, test it, tap it, and then fail. And then see $80 and then see this 100-day right here, 79.33. From there, take it to down below. So when you have your money in Starbucks card, you can they're not, if your money's sitting there, they're not, and you're not spending it, they can use that money as like a short-term loan. So imagine all the people, like if I look at my account, I probably have like $40 or $30 or something in there. And I haven't been to Starbucks in months. So in those months that I haven't been to Starbucks with my $40 and your $40 and someone else's $40, they have an interest-free loan that with no FDIC requirements, because they're not a bank and they're not advertising as a bank, but they have a bunch of your cash sitting in their account that they can do whatever they want with. And they're pretty liquid, so they can, if they needed to, there's no such thing as a fire sale because they can just sell shit to give you back your money, right? So I think their business is really strong. Their model is really, really strong, really great model. I'm just scared about how Blank Street Coffee took over their operations in UK, and Blank Street Coffee took over most of their market share over in the UK. And there's Blank Street Coffee here in Brooklyn now, right? There's Blank Street Coffee. There's like two of them in Brooklyn that I've seen. There's one in Manhattan that I saw last week. So Blank Street is expanding their footprint here in the United States, and Blank Street is the reason why Starbucks shut down their UK operations. So you gotta keep that in mind. Starbucks chosen as next CEO, Laxman Narasimhan. I just butchered that, but anyway, he who just resigned as CEO from Reckitt, which owns Lysol and Durex. So Lysol and Durex is owned by one person. That's funny. So now he's on Starbucks. So let's see what kind of changes he makes. The other CEO left. Maybe this Blank Street thing was killing him, and now let's see what the new guy does. Or I say Laxman. It might be a woman's name. I doubt it. Laxman. I know some dudes in Brooklyn that have a name like that that are clearly not women. All right, so they expect great things from him. Cool. Let's do some research and see if we find out what his vibe is. I'm gonna hook you up in 2 minutes. I'm almost done, okay? And I got you. She wants to watch Frozen. All right, so the next one that I have. Oh, let's look at the chains real quick. Let's look at the chains real quick. Starbucks. 99. At the monies. Keep it simple. 99. 82s. 82 put. Went from ranging at 0.91 to $1. OI is 1920. These are really, I don't know why, I don't understand why these are so cheap. Okay. Starbucks puts are very cheap for this week, and the calls a little bit more expensive, so that tells you something, right? So let's see what it does with that 50-day. That 50-day might be a catalyst for a bounce based on, I'm looking at the chains, and now the 50-day looks like it might be a catalyst for a bounce. Let's look at 916. 916 80s. The 80s are between 125 and 134 with an open interest of 67.49. So a lot of people in that 80 put. The 916 87.5 calls. Just because it just like grabbed my attention real quick. All right, that's the bid ask. The open interest grabbed my attention. It's 18,684, the highest on the chain on both sides. And then we have the 90 calls, which look like lottos, for 916. 90 calls like a straight lotto. I don't even see upside, but we have that with the open interest of almost 16,000. So my bias is telling me downside, but a lot of people are playing calls, so just keep it in mind. And my setup is a broadening formation rejection, inverse head and shoulders here on the daily, and really the 50 days is a catalyst for a move to upside or downside. And then just looking at my notes, yeah, that's it. Top of broad information and between the 50 and the target and 50 and the 100. So that's it. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much my setup. That's pretty much my setup for that. Let's look at the next one that I have on my list is Duolingo. I don't know how liquid this is. I've never played Duolingo, but the setup is too good to ignore. So I was looking at it and I'm like, this is kind of like, there's just a bunch of wicks here. Like, it's kind of hard to find a clear setup here. But what I do see is, and this is the weekly, You know, you got this big move up, failed the 200 day each time, gapped up above it, and then fell below it again here, and now it's just getting real tight on this 100 day moving average, which has held a bunch of support, right? And the 200 is cutting through everything. The 200 cut through the 50, which is what's it called, a death cross. And like, it's just so, the weekly is like, it gives almost no direction, but we have this doji here at the end of kind of a downtrend of 2 weeks, which might indicate a reversal. We had good earnings. Like, it's just so, it's so weird, right? Like, it's like you don't have like a clear direction. Looking at MACD is falling to the downside. We're about to get a bearish cross down right here in a few days. TTM has been stable for weeks and weeks and weeks, and that's exactly what the chart looks like. It looks like a stable TTM to me, right? It's just very stable, very consolidated. And they are losing bullish strength. Duolingo has a market cap of 3.72 billion with 306 million in revenue for the last 12 months. So they're making money. Duolingo's been spending a lot of money on ads lately. I've been seeing hella Duolingo ads. My wife is using Duolingo right now she studied in Italy when she was in college. She speaks pretty fluently, but she's just brushing up, I guess, on her Italian. So Duolingo is great, and I love it. I love the app. I love the software. Right? It's not Rosetta Stone where it's like kind of inaccessible. You can just jump on Duolingo, learn, be done with it. Right? Really good software. Let's go daily real quick. So it's sitting on that 100-day, holding hard, right? It gapped above the 200 and then it fell underneath, and we're about to get a 20 cross 50. We already got the 100. Everything's crossing, right? Everything's crossing. So I just see more downside, and if we fall, this is why I like to play so much. And it's really contingent on if we fall. I don't know if we're gonna fall. I hope we do, because the setup is way clean, right? Dump below this level, and we get that level, and we get that level. Like, it's just very clean to the downside. A nice little 10-point move. 10-point move from the breakdown. If we get this, we got a 20-point move from where we are now at the 100-day. So, you know, the double bottom on the weekly did nothing. Like, we moved up, and then we're just coming. It looks like we're headed right back down. So let's look at the monthly real quick. Wow. This is some ugly price action, man. This is really ugly. Yeah, I mean, the 200 is just forcing everything down, and then it looks like it couldn't hold this level at all, and it looks like it's just been undecided within this level. So it looks like decision time finally for Duolingo this week. You know, we have this bar, inside bar, double inside bar on the monthly. So it's time for this thing to make a decision. Let's look at the weekly again real quick. Yeah, it's time. I mean, it looks like, and based on this, it looks like it has downside. Let's see. Duolingo store, huh? Let's see. And they just broke their downtrend, their uptrend on a couple weeks ago. And they're selling stuffed animals for their 10-year anniversary. So that owl that they have, their logo, which is an owl, which is like, it might be a what's it called? It might be a gimmick, but also, like, you celebrate your 10-year anniversary in business. Yeah, you wanna maybe somebody's gonna buy your owl, right? I don't think it's a cash grab. I feel like they make enough money from their app and from their advertising. Actually, I don't think they have in-app advertising. Interesting, because I don't think I've ever paid for Duolingo, but you know, for the time that I've used it, and I don't think that my wife pays for it, but here we are, right? And then you got this owl, which is selling for $30, which probably cost them like $7 to make, right? And a couple dollars to ship, so nice upside on it. But is that because they need to make money somehow, or is it because they're just celebrating, right? Who knows? I like it to the downside. I don't know how liquid these chains are. Let me just take a quick look. And all the indicators tell me it's gonna go down. But as we know, those are not leading indicators, they're lagging indicators. So they tell the story of what happened in the past, not what's going to happen in the future. So I got you in a few minutes. I'm almost done. I know that you're bored. I know. Give me a few minutes, okay? I'm almost done. All right. What do you want to eat? Think about it. Think about it. I'll come back to you. Give me a few minutes. She's fed up. 916, and I would just keep it at the money with this. I mean, 916 puts are 90 puts are between 310 and 360, so not liquid at all. Let's see. 916, 90 puts. 3.1, 3.6. What I like about this is, I bet you there's like no OI on this. Yeah. OI is 51. What I like about this is the fact that it's expensive, right, relative to everything else that we've looked at. But I'm looking at the call side now. It's expensive relative to everything that we've looked at. But what that means is it's you can get a nice move out of it. Right, you can get a very nice move out of it. I just don't love the fact that the open interest is so low. So maybe we just look at the setup and watch it play out, and that's it. This open interest is really bad because you can get stuck. Unless you bid very, very low and get filled, you can get stuck holding this and have nobody to sell to. So, not my favorite for the week. The next one I have is and this one can go right. Duolingo can go in both directions as well. So let's watch it. Let's see. Let's see how the premium changes when it moves, and if it's worth it. If it's like a nice move, then maybe we can get some. We'll start playing it. And what did I put? A lot of pressure on the stock price, sitting on top of 100 MA, holding on for dear life. Looks like it wants to establish a new range. So it has this range up here, right, where this is the low 92.42 and the high is that 110, 111. And it looks like it wants to go back to this range here from 76.62 down to where its current high is. It looks like it just wants to go back into that other box. That's what I put in my notes. Next one, Starbucks. No, sorry. Nvidia. I don't know where it went. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know where it went, but it's broadening up, broadening down. It failed. Where is it? Jeez. Sorry. Just gotta fix this. I don't know where it went. But we had this broadening formation that I think it was in the monthly that Toast put me onto. Was it the monthly? Or weekly? I don't know what it was. Yeah, maybe it was a weekly. But we had this broadening formation, and so we played it. We've been playing this for weeks, right? And it went up to the top, rejected here. So it's kind of formed like a double top right here with a lower high here. Rejected the 100-day, broke through the 50, 200 is pointing down, and now we're headed down. And we're now headed down to what I would say is probably this level here. Probably this level here, where demand is at right around $125. So I see more downside for NVIDIA. I don't think that it will bounce. I think that we have more downside, especially since Kathy's out. There's a lot saying that this is going to be more downside. So keep it simple, play to the downside. If you like upside, if there's a nice upside setup that we find intraday, then we'll play it. This is one that I've been watching pretty consistently now because it pays really, really well. If you weren't in the community, or if you're watching this on YouTube or whatever, I think this past Friday we hit it for like 400% or something like that, 300%. So, or rather, Thursday we hit it for like 300%. If you would have held that put, let's see something. If you would have held the put, then you would have made more money. But anyway, let's look at 99. And again, I'm on the put side. I like the at the monies. The at the monies are 136. Puts 99, 136 P's between 365 and and 375. So very liquid with a very tight spread on the bid ask. And then we have the 135s, which are between 3.2 and 3.3. Again, very liquid. With a open interest, there's more open interest on the 135s, and that's because 135 is like an easier number to digest than 136, right? Right, and then we have the 133s, which are between 246 and 251, with an open interest of 1195. On the call side, the 137s are decent on the call side for this week. 137 that call side. Like Duo. That's exactly who that is.
What is Duo?
Yeah. We were talking about the share price of the company.
Wait, the share price? Oh, what company?
Duolingo. The app that mommy uses?
Yeah, but I use it too.
Okay, so she uses it too. What do you use it for?
I use it for like learning stuff.
That's great.
Yeah, like
great.
Like on the learning books, there's a lot of learning stuff. Like a butterfly could. It was a real butterfly.
In the app?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to show me that. Okay, go. Let me finish this. Yeah, I need you to show me that though, okay? Because that's interesting. So apparently Duolingo has a segment for kids learning. That's great. I like that a lot. Thank you for that. Yeah, it might have a segment for kids learning, and if I know kids learning apps, I know that they're gonna try to get you to buy more stuff. So maybe that's where they make their money. So that's interesting. The 140 calls, and then the 138s look good too, right? The 138s look good. And then the 138s are 3.2, 3.25, so very liquid, with an open interest of 988. And then the 130, what was I just looking at? 140s look really good in terms of juice. We got 238 on the bid, 244 on the ask, with an open interest of 37.59. So these are the chains that I'll be watching. I don't like to play out more than a week on a video. These are the ones I'll be watching. I like obviously the downside because of this broadening formation. But you know, if it does bounce, then you know you can, with this, you can go pretty far out the money too, and it'll pay you pretty well. These chains move very nicely. Yeah, I think I gotta dig into a little bit more of what they have. If you're talking about Duolingo, I gotta dig into more of what they have in terms of their education for kids. I didn't even know that they had a segment for kids, which makes a lot of sense that they would, because if they keep, a lot of these companies that are targeting kids, if they're good companies and they're wholesome and they're smart, then they keep the kids in the pipeline as they grow, and so you can capture kids for 10 years minimum, and then from there you can convert them as adults, and then they can start buying for their kids. So that's like kind of like the Disney vibe, where like my wife and I grew up on Disney, and now my daughter's growing up on Disney, right? So it's like kind of the same thing. So it's very smart. So if they, I'll reach into that, and I'll sit with her and see what she shows me, and see if there's something of value there for us to make money with them. Yeah, Duolingo is pretty dope. It's pretty dope. So this is the last one. No, this is my last one on my list, and I wanted to look at Docu with you guys and GME with you guys real quick. So this is AMD. AMD looks like it had a double top kind of forming here. We're still forming lower highs, still in downtrend. Right. I think that this is going to come back down to test if Nvidia falls to the bottom of that range, AMD will go down with it. it took out the low of this week. I want to see low of this week and low of this week. That's it. Very plain, very simple. MACD supports the thesis. We're about to get a cross on a bearish cross here with a, back to zero, then back to negative. And TTM is flat. It went up and it came back down like 3 days real quick. So it looks like it wants to just go down more. I'm targeting this one for sure, 75.11 for sure this week. Although if we get a nice big red week, we can get down to the bottom of this range quite quickly. So, and by bottom of this range, I mean, back to uncharted territory, back to like where we gapped up in the past. If you look all the way to your left, actually, let me just redraw that. Back to this area, right? Consolidation, breakout, new range, breakout, new range, breakout, come down and test each range one by one. So I think this is like ultimate target 56, which is wild because this thing was trading at $160, $164 at the high, and now it's back at 80, 50% down from its high. But I see 56 in its future, and I will have my cash ready for $56 AMD. AMD, and it's underneath everything, underneath the 50, underneath the 200, underneath the 21, underneath everything, right? And the 200 is pointing down finally. For this week, AMD at the money puts, and oh wow, look at that! We have this massive, really massive potential head and shoulders here. Potential, right? We might struggle a bit with this area here. And the neckline is, I'm happy I looked at this on a monthly. Right, we have that. So we can bounce at 74.20, and if we don't bounce at 74.20 at that point, that's when we're gonna fall pretty hard down into the 50s, 60s and 50s. So that's a monthly. So we have a lot to go, but I think that's a nice setup. Very nice setup. To the downside. So let's look at the chains real quick, and then I want to look at GameStop. This week's. Let's look at next week. Maybe we could just swing into next week. Actually, so this week's ADP. All right, OI, just want to keep it consistent. So I'll do this week and I'll do next week. OI of 21.93. Let's look at this week's 78. Between 126 and 128. OI of 1438. Right. Oops. Let's look at next week's. Where we at? Next week's 80s. Next week's 80s are 3.2, 3.25. And with an open interest of 18,947, big open interest on this. And next week's 77 and a half. 77 and a half. Oh my God. 77.5p. 219, 221. Very tight spread. I've never seen a spread that tight in my life. I mean, obviously you have intraday on like SPY or whatever, 1 penny spread, but this is nice. And then you have OI 9747, and then the one that really drew my attention, that has my attention right now, is a 75 put. 144, 146. 144 to 146 with an open interest of 14,636. So those are the ones that I'm targeting. I like that 70. I like this last one, the 75 put, because you can swing and get a nice, really nice percent gain on that, and go in the money this week, right? You can get it now, go in the money immediately, buy 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, whatever, and then leave 1 or 2 and let it ride into OPEX. OPEX, I'm sure, is going to be a nice red one. Let's look at the video real quick once more. I want to see what the following week was. Yes, babe. I know it's time. I know. I'm sorry. Take a few more minutes. Okay. She is fed up with me. Let's see, and then let's just look at the real quick the 135s for Nvidia for next week. 135 puts are between 5.2 and 5.3, so still very tight, with an open interest of, telling you these people wanted to go down. 82, 83. The in the money puts, the in the money 140s they have a 14,000 open interest, so that's pretty interesting. The 916 130s, which is between it's like halfway between where we are and where my target is between 3.3 and 3.4, with an OI of 90.58. So people expect the whole market to come down, especially in this sector, right? We see it with Nvidia, we see it with AMD, right? So any sympathy plays that you see, like any like chip plays, Marvell, SOXL, XOXX, TSM, right? All of these are all going to be sympathy to each other, and this, I mean, I'm not even going to chart this anymore. If you see me put a play that's a put for any of these tickers in this sector, it's because of Nvidia and AMD and overall that market overall, right? So there you go. For GME, downtrend break. We broke 2 weeks ago. We're putting in a new low of week. I want to see it come back to test the bottom of this area over here. I want to see a test there, right? I want to see a test there. 22.39. Right now we're at 30.27. So $5 move to the downside. So just look at I'm not gonna do a quick, like, not too much of an analysis. I just want to get it off of our screen real quick. We're at an hour and a half, and so I want to cut it. I want to cut this call in a few minutes. The 20. Let's see. I'm just looking at OI. The 25 puts for this week between $90 and $96. Bid ask. $6, and the OI is 1021. Excuse me. And then the 20. Excuse me. The 25s for 916. I thought these would be more expensive. They're so cheap. I thought these were gonna be like a couple dollars. They're only $1. With an OI of, right. So that's GME. I like GME to the downside. They have earnings this week, I believe. They have earnings on the 7th at night, so we might have a day trade opportunity there. And if you're risky, you can swing. And if you buy these 916s, then you should be pretty safe. I don't know what the calculated move is. It's probably not that much. Probably a couple dollars, $2, $3, $4. But I want to see it get back to that support level. Right, we're in the range of this green candle right here. I'll just draw it for you. We're in this range. You notice that I do that a lot. I say, all right, we're in the range of this candle, so I want to see it test the bottom of it. Right, so I want to see it go down to the bottom of this candle here. down to 2262 ish, right? What's the low? The low is 2254, so that's what I want, 2254. All right. And then let's look at DocuSign real quick. Without even looking at, I know it's bearish. Yeah, I mean, it went to exactly where my arrow was without. It's fucking crazy. This shit is crazy, man. It fell below all of my levels. Inside bar on Friday. Inside bar on Friday. Oops. Hit every single level, every single one. Inside bar on Friday. So what that gives us is breakdown here, boom, obviously breakdown here, and then from there the next number we would see is one more candlestick will put us at 52. I want to see where support is on this. The next area of support would be right there, and then right there. So that's what I'm targeting for DocuSign at this point. It's crazy. Docu is $50, 50 something dollars, off of a high of 314.76 to $50. So very interesting. I just see more downside. If you want to play where are we at? What is this? We're at 54. So if you want to play puts, I don't see any calls on this market at all. Nowhere. Although like COP, I know had a green day. There's a few things that had a green day, but everything else is bearish. If you want to play Docu 50s for September 16th, 50 put is between 365 and 380 with an OI of 21.24. That's the one I would play. I wouldn't play anything else. Keep it simple. If you want to play this week, this week's 50 puts. This week's 50 puts are 315 to 3.3 with an OI of 455. I would play next week's. Just pay a little extra, buy the extra time. All right, pay a little extra and buy that extra time, and you can swing and catch a nice move. For the amount, for the difference, you know, $50 difference, I would just rather play next week and get the extra week worth of time for Docu. Do you guys have any tickers that you want to look at? Let's look at Tesla while you guys decide. Tesla. I know you guys love your Tesla. Tesla weekly. Tesla daily first. Tesla daily. Couldn't take the 200. Failed the 200. Falling. Holding. Now we have to hold the 50. And then the 100 just crossed the 50 to the downside. So a lot of bearish crosses occurred. Right? Gold death cross here on the 50, 200. Or here. 100 crossing through the 50 here. 100 crossing 220 here. It's just very bearish. Support. Let's see. I see that. I see that. That. Those are my levels for Tesla. To the downside, to the upside, we have to really undo this candle. Have to undo that candle, then we can go there, and then we can try to test this 200. And from there we can go up there. those are my levels for Tesla. Break low of day, right? Upside, downside. I'm not even gonna bother looking at the chains because with Tesla, you kind of just get in where you fit in. Tesla's range is now. This day was a high of 282, a low of 269. So that's still a pretty nice range. But $13 range on this one day. So it still moves nicely. Right? It's not $50 like it was in the past, but $13 is not bad. So and I'm to me it's looking bearish. You know, kind of a head and shoulders, kind of a double top with a lower high. Break support, right? All the moving averages are kind of slowly falling, fading away. Regain bullet bearish strength on the MACD, and we have that cross from top to bottom. So I think we have a nice swing to the downside. And TTM is working its way down, right? So, and then let me just see something real quick. We still have like a head and shoulders kind of forming on the weekly, which as a shareholder who's not at my full potential, that makes me happy. I want it down here so I can load it. But we still have that kind of a head and shoulders forming there. It's probably clearer on the month. Not really. So, and momentum is slowing. Bullish momentum is slowing on the weekly, and TTM it's just about zero, so it can go anyway. But I think the MACD is a more accurate indicator for the weekly time frame. So, and we have this trend line that we've been kind of fighting. And then this is also kind of broadening down, right? So that's what I'm looking at. So if you guys have anything else you want to look at, go ahead and drop it anywhere. You can add me, you just drop it, I'll look for it on Trade Floor or Trade Floor is probably the best spot. But that's it for me, guys. I'll probably do another couple of hours tomorrow at some point. I don't know if futures market is open tonight. I don't think it is. But otherwise, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hopefully you guys are spending time with your loved ones and enjoying yourselves. And that's it. You know, we'll do it again tomorrow. We'll do it again every week, each and every week. The greatest show on earth. Go Rush Weekly Watch List. Thank you guys for being here with me on this Sunday morning, and I hope you guys have a beautiful day today, and I hope you guys enjoy your day tomorrow as well. And we'll see you on Tuesday if anything. All right, thanks guys.